find acquisitions difficult. I think you're always up against it odds-wise. You've obviously got other agents that have got their friends and buyers that they're always going to try and do favours to. And I feel like I've tried a lot on the acquisition side and it's difficult. And we get so much stuff now to sell, or someone might come to us and say, I've got this building, can you find a buyer? Which effectively is sort of like an off-market in for some of our clients that want stuff.
I always thought of you as sort of the development agent, site assembling, resi play long term, but I also see your boards up a lot on the sort of shell and core ground floor commercial stuff. So is that a spin-off? You sell the building, you get it get developed, and then it comes back to you to put to the market?
Yeah, I think we've become, as the years have developed, so I set up Henschel Partners 2017, and as we've gone, I used to be predominantly a land agent, but that market's very difficult because it's difficult to fund. Land deals are hard because of the expense of building stuff now, which doesn't always stack up. So what we've tried to do is we've got those relationships with house builders, developers. They've got a lot of new build commercial stock, so that's just like ground floor commercial. We've sort of built the relationship there to get the instruction. We've got the buyer database, the tenant database. We're doing deals with like blue chip tenants. We might do a let into like a Sainsbury's or Waitrose. We add a lot of value, so we pick up a lot of those schemes. So we've got some key clients like Fairview, some of the HAs, like we do a lot with Peabody, and they just sort of
What's Peabody?
It's a housing association, and they know that we deliver. They know that we're consistent. They know. I think like I've got a reputation for knowing how to put a deal together, and I think a lot of people in this market now want reliability of an agent that delivers, and I'm sure that's why you guys are sort of on a D1 side. And
D1 now gone.
Yeah, you're D1, but you've got the buyers and you get the deals done, and that's what people want. They don't want.
Yeah, that's that commercial stock, ground floor, shell and core. That's hard to shift.
It's hard, but if you understand it. I mean, like personally, I've invested in it as well, so I've got like a real passion for it because I do understand. I bought like little shell and core units that have had no fit out. So basically, shell and core, to like explain it simply, there's no fit out in there initially, so it's.
I remember shell and core.
Yeah, it's screeded floor,
like grey walls and everything.
Exactly.
And
So
like,
it's you've got the glazing, you've got screeded floors often, you've got the services in there, so you've got electric and water, not very much gas for new developments, and basically you're sold it in that condition. But the deal that you do is you then lease it to a tenant, and you give them rent free to do their fit out. Now the way that often works is you give them say 6 months rent free, which let's just say on a small unit might be 30 grand a year, so you're giving them 15 grand's worth of fit out. They'll often spend 30 grand, 40 grand, 50 grand because they want 100 grand.
Yeah.
It often will be a lot more than the rent free that you're giving them, but they're investing into the property that you own.
It's worthwhile, isn't it, for the land?
That you own. And then you've got the DLAPs and you've got the schedule and condition, and you can do a deal with them where you say, don't worry, I'll take it. 10 years time, they want to leave the lease, they've done the fit out. You say to them, don't worry, I'll take the property back. You don't need to spend the money to take it back to what it was, which is normally the way that it's done. They've got to then take it back to the condition that they took it, which is shell and core. Mm-hmm. And then you re-let it at a much higher rent for the existing use of the building, and you've locked in a huge amount of value because the rent might be double, triple. Yeah. In 10 years' time, it might be 5 times what you've done initially, and then the investment value is a lot more. So it's just understanding the asset
and this
class.
is what you specialise in.
I've become a bit of a specialist in that market, and we get a lot of stock. We've just taken on 20,000 square foot for Fairview in Brentford, which is 9 units. We've just got Peabody have got 20. A lot of these new build developments, if there's like 150 units plus, they've got a lot of commercial on the ground floor.
I was going to say they're predominantly new builds because I think it's a requirement you've got to have commercial.
Exactly, they're re-providing what they've often bought. So let's say, the studios here, you've got 40,000 square foot of warehouse studio space. A developer might buy it to do loads of new flats, like 1,000 new flats on this whole site.
Yeah.
But there's 40,000 square foot of existing commercial. They'll have to put that back within the scheme.
So what class would this be?
This would be E-class.
Really?
Yeah, this would be E-class. And it would go back in on the ground floor of the new scheme, and then they need an agent to be able to lease it, sell it, and there's a lot of money in that. If you are the agent that specialises, because you do so many of those deals.
Especially with the amount of new builds that are going up now as well. It's like...
That's it. That's everywhere. The model.